Hi, my name is Kroby. This is Artist Banter back, and today we are here with Andromeda X.
Hi, my name's Andromeda. I'm a drag monster and I specialize in filth, horror, and glamour.
Mm. So you mentioned drag monster, not drag queen. What makes you a monster instead of a queen?
Well, I kind of reject like the pretty, cutesy, like perfect polished drag queens that you would usually see on Drag Race. My drag is all about switching the narrative between men and women. Women taking on the role of being more powerful, scary, and even a little bit violent. and I the reason why I wanted to do something like this was because being scary is kind of a privilege. Like men can walk around at night by themselves and not have to worry or do anything. Women, for example, when you go to like an event, how many times do you see the women's restroom like line going
Mm.
out the door, and then for the men's restroom, girl, it's like empty? Wouldn't it be so much easier if we just split the women's line in half and then just go and use the men's restroom? But we don't. And you know why that is? Because we're scared of men. But it doesn't have to be this way. I mean, that's perfectly valid. I get it. Like, girl, I'm scared of men too. But it does not have to be this way. If anything, they should be scared of us.
Mm-hmm. So you say that you kind of reject that polished, like perfect, I guess more quote unquote pretty instead of scary
I
type of
reject,
elements.
yeah, yeah. I reject what men want women to be, which is
Mm-hmm.
like cutesy, pink, and all of that. Don't get me wrong. Outside of drag, I am a very much a sweet, girly girl's girl. Um, I would never hurt anybody, but growing up, I feel like people a lot of times labeled me as the problem. They kind of used me as like a scapegoat, or they depended put so much pressure on me and they depended on me, and when something went south, even if it wasn't my fault, all of a sudden, oh, this must have been Andromeda who did this. And it really hurt my feelings because I tried really hard to be nice to everyone, and people kind of just like silenced me.
Mm-hmm.
And being in drag, doing drag is all about taking your weaknesses and turning them into your strength. So it was very hard for me to speak up and stand up for myself, especially when I was little, until I created like my drag persona.
Mhm. And for your drag persona, is that, um let's see, like you said, completely separate or like more like an enhanced version of yourself? Because you said that you used like weakness turning into strength. Is that, more like internalized weakness, or do you just feel like it's a separate character entirely?
Well, everyone has strengths and weaknesses. I think like turning like my weakness of like into a strength actually helps me become a well-rounded individual. And for example, one of my weaknesses is I kind of always made people a little bit uncomfortable. I would like freak people out and kind of like say scary shit even when I was little. I remember one time I was at my friend's house and they only spoke Spanish, and I would pray with them in Spanish, and then they would try and show me videos of what hell looked like, and they told me that like the devil was like this like little demon like little girl, and I was like, "Oh my god, she's just like me." And then I like started like drawing pictures of like me and her playing, and they were like, "Ay Dios mío," like they were like getting scared. And during that time, that made me insecure. But now that I'm a drag monster, I can call upon that. And now when I say like those things or act that way, when I'm not in drag, it doesn't make me feel insecure. It makes me feel powerful.
Mm-hmm. So that little like devil character, you said she's a little girl, right? Is there like any other like girl characters, girl like influences you got?
Oh, I have so many. I have a whole collection on my Pinterest of
Mm.
all the evil women that inspire me, from film and television, I really love Divine. I love Frankenhooker. I love Aunt Gladys. I love the TX, the girl Terminator from Terminator 3. I love Silver Surfer. I'm definitely a Pearl kind of girl. I love Carrie, Tommy, Harley Quinn, uh, even Monster House girl. The house identified as a girl. I loved, I love evil women. I think that, you know, people don't expect a woman to be like mean or evil or cruel or vicious. And I like that. I can use that. I can use that to my advantage. That's kind of like my superpower. I like being mean. I like being the problem. I like being the villain.
So
I think it's empowering.
right, so you kind of use that like kind of subjective, like it's called like not meeting their expectations. Is that something you do? Like, do you perform for like an audience? Do you kind of like try and scare them, or is it something different?
Oh, I 100% try and make them uncomfortable as often as possible. Not only that I'm not only a drag monster, I'm also a performance artist. So I don't just like lip sync to like the cute like little TikTok songs. I create like audio and visuals that can sometimes disturb people. and I just kind of want to break away from like that clean, perfect, polished look that normal drag queens do, and test the limits.
Do you want to like kind of describe one of like your maybe your favorite performing art pieces? Because I know you mentioned audio and visual. How does that work into your performances?
Well, I usually create like I either get like a song I have in mind, or I create like a soundscape where I can interact and be present in the room. Um Being present is the number one rule when doing a performance art, because I do rehearse and I do like to put in a lot of work, but I also like to do a lot of improvisation because each audience is different and there are different ways I can freak people out or make people uncomfortable. Um, One performance that I had like this dead body. It was like a fake dead body, like a prop from Halloween. And I started it off by having some romantic music, and then I would dance with it, and everyone thought, oh, that's so sweet. And then I had like this like huge like like tantrum where like I just started screaming and beating up and stabbing the doll. And then I looked upon it and then I said, oh my God, what have I done? My lover, he's dead. And then I got on top of the doll and I started fucking it. And then it happens all over again. And that performance art was really about being in an abusive relationship, the cycle that like people commonly go through. You know, they go from loving each other to fighting to hitting to making up, and then they continue doing that. And I just wanted to create that visually so that more people can understand the cycle that someone or they are in.
Do like a lot of your pieces have like similar darker themes, or maybe do you like touch upon more lighter themes, or?
Yes, usually my work has very dark themes, a lot of drug addiction, a lot of suicidal ideation, a lot of violence, crime. They usually are like it's almost like a form of protest. Like there is a message behind the work that I do. Uh I just like to leave it very ambiguous and up to the audience member to interpret that, because there could be many different things that I incorporate. I did another performance where my entire body was just made out of those like faux silicone prosthetics. And then I would put on like makeup and dress myself. And then I would grab like a pair of scissors and I start stabbing like my prosthetic body and ripping myself out. And that represents like the transgender experience. I've had people come up to me and tell me, uh, you know, like what trans people do to their bodies, that's mutilation. And I say, yeah, it is mutilation. but is it not ethical? Like, does it not make people happy? And yeah, it's a little bit scary, bloody, and gory, but I kind of like that. And there's beauty in that too. It's almost like the phoenix, like crashing and then coming back alive.
Like rebirth. So
Exactly.
yeah. You mentioned like that kind of like experience, that transgender experience. Like, how does it feel being like a woman in drag versus like a men in drag?
First of all, I want to say that anybody can do drag regardless of their gender. I think that people have it a little bit confused. They think that it's only men, gay men, who are impersonating women. That's not exactly what drag is. Drag is experimenting with gender, but ain't nobody said it had to be your gender specifically. It could be gender as a whole, gender as a construct. Sometimes I'm a drag monster, sometimes I'm a drag queen, sometimes I'm a drag king, sometimes I'm a drag gender fuck. So yes, women can do drag. They can do feminine drag. Men can do manly drag. Men can be drag queens, and the sort. For me, since I'm transgender, people kind of like label me as like the man. They're like, oh, it's still like a drag queen. I'm like, no, baby, I exist in the same category as a cis female if she were to do drag, because they call them bio queens, which is so super upsetting. I'm like, they're just drag queens. Like they're just women who have like an art. It's just the patriarchy. Gays think that because I'm gay, so I'm not at the top of the pyramid. Girl, you second. You're second.
Sorry, bio queens, is that?
That's like a term that to refer to cisgendered women who do drag.
So it's just another form of.
It kind of has a negative yeah. I take it as it has a negative connotation to it. A lot of other cis women who are drag queens also take it as a negative connotation because they're literally just drag queens.
Yeah, so like you'd say like it's like another form of like misogyny within kind of like.
Correct. Exactly.
Oh, are there any like specific characters you like performing as, or just like one character that you have?
There is one. Right now I'm really dressed up. I'm inspired by like a corrupt boss like kind of look. Imagine me as the owner of the company. I call you in and my office is like the fanciest, biggest office in the world while your cubicle is shit. I call you in, I'm eating like the biggest, crunchiest salad I can. And I take my time just to tell you, you're not getting that raise. Or you're working on your computer and I'll go ahead and pat you on the back and I'll look you in the eye and I'll say, go ahead and clock out for me, baby. You're not needed here anymore. And I'm just like corrupt and greedy and I have like a really successful business. And then I also really like, or I should say it's really popular. One character that's really popular is Rhonda McDonda. It's a clown character I came up with inspired by Ronald McDonald. She's supposed to be Ronald's slut daughter who won't listen and keeps giving men her burger pussy. And she's like disgusting and gross. People really like that when I perform as her because I usually bring like McDonald's with me and then I just start chucking it into the audience and then all the drunk bitches, they just pick up them nuggets and they just put them in their mouth. I'm like, ew, y'all bitches are so nasty. but that character was inspired by all the gross like food McDonald's like feeds people and how like disgusting like that actually is.
So yeah, just very disgusting corruptness that also goes into like feeling powerful and stuff. I can see that definitely with the boss character. Let's see. I think I saw one time on your website you did like a Carrie kind of. Was that like another performance or?
That was actually just for Halloween.
Right.
I will have any excuse for me to dress up. I will take it. I will buy the ticket. like, and I will dress like the most outrageously. Any excuse, I'll take it. Carrie was really fun to make. I just had to cover myself in blood, really.
And like, how did you feel about the movies? Like remake? You prefer the remake original?
I remember I really liked Carrie when I first came out as transgender because a lot of times I felt like that first scene in Carrie where they're all throwing the tampons at her and she didn't know what to do. And they were all saying, plug it up, plug it up. And then other times I felt like evil Carrie. Like I just wanted to like kill everyone who ever like made fun of me or doubted me. And I find that really empowering.
I know you mentioned something about like the Batman characters or like the villains or something.
Oh, one thing that I love about the Batman franchise is that they have their own unique, like the female characters, they have like a unique storyline. It's not just like the male counterparts of like the male superheroes like Spider-Man and Spider-Girl or Wonder Woman and Superman. Like it's I mean, they do have Batgirl, but but like Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy, like they're unique, and I can really appreciate that. I can get down to that, and I love like how they just like want to attack like Batman and like men and all that.
I know in like what recent iterations they're kind of like more separated from like I guess like the male main characters are kind of like dating now, but they're like I don't know. I haven't seen it mainly, but I don't know if they're like still like evil or bad or whatever.
Oh, they're definitely evil.
So that's also something like is there like a specific like personality or character trait that you kind of like inherit, or is it just like the evilness, or is it kind of like that slyness or that jokiness that you like doing?
It's a lot about being witty, being very confident to the point where, like I mentioned earlier, people would always put me down or try and like silence me or put me in their place. But when I'm in drag, I'm going to put you in your place. You don't have the time to clock me, girl. I've got it right here. So yeah.
For your like, you say you're a performance artist, is that entirely in drag, or do you do like maybe stuff outside of drag?
Well, I like to actually really combine the two. Whenever I am doing a performance art, it usually is in drag. I'm a drag monster as equally as I am a drag. Uh, I am a drag monster just as equally as I am a performance artist. And I like to blur those lines between the two because I like to push the limits and test them and see where I can go when it comes to drag. It does kind of affect like my costuming a little bit because I'm usually doing some outrageous like performance art that involves like full body movement. So sometimes it can give a little bit like stunt drag, but it's only to make the performance more valuable, more interesting, and more unique.
Can you explain a little more on like stunt drag, what that means?
A stunt drag queen is like someone that's doing drag for the first time and it looks very half put together, or it could usually you will see this like during like a football game. Sometimes like the football players will come out in like a wig, like but they're like straight guys and they're like cross-dressing like just once, like just because. That's stunt drag. And you can use that term to kind of like come up to a queen and basically say like your drag is not good or whatever. But yeah, that's what stunt drag means.
Kind of like more like performative or just bad in general.
It's just baby drag. It's just new drag, girl.
Do you like let's see, like collaborate with other drag artists, or is it just
Not as much as I'd like to. Doing drag is very much like a solo thing. Like in order to collaborate with other drag artists, we would need to meet and rehearse and pick a song, a duet song. And since my drag is like pretty different than a lot of other drag queens, like my vision is, I'm not sure how down they would want to get to that, if that makes sense. But I would love to collaborate with some poets or film people to help me film content, or even like artists that like make clothing or garments or structural pieces, and then I can incorporate them into like my performance art and create like a multimedia experience.
Mm, mhm. So you haven't met like somebody kind of like at least maybe close to yourself, just like
Well, I have met a couple other drag monsters. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the show Dragula. It's
mm,
just like RuPaul's Drag Race, only it's drag monsters. So all the contestants on that show, they're all evil and scary. And I've met a couple of them. I met Out of Horror. I met I met Niohuru. I've met some other queens from there, and it's always a pleasure like meeting them and being just a little bit nasty and gross to them.
do you like take inspiration from them, or are you just like completely separate from them?
I do. I mean, I definitely do have like my own style, but I do like take in. I do watch the show. It's available on Shutter, and it's so worth it to watch that show because it really shows you how far drag can go as an art form. Um, I do get inspiration, but I always have my own little twists or like my idea when it comes to like making my own costumes and creating a character.
Mhm. So you mentioned like that multimedia thing. Is there anything like you're planning on doing, like thinking about certain ideas or themes?
I really want to go off of the idea of personifying plastic. Plastic is everywhere, right? Like everything around us is like made out of plastic, and yet it doesn't it doesn't let rot, it doesn't go away. Every single piece of plastic you've ever used still exists. Plastic can fly, plastic can float, plastic can be a machine, and I wanted to create kind of like this like poetic spoken word where I kind of like name all the where I say I am plastic. I walk, I float, I fly. I am plastic. I am a machine. I last forever. I am Chat GPT, where I think of like all of like these insane ways where plastic can be incorporated, personify it, and actually like feeling empowered by being like this indestructible like object. If I was made out of plastic, imagine how much stuff I could do.
So it's like it kind of well, I don't know, like that silicone thing you mentioned that's kind of different from this plastic thing. Like back then it was kind of like breaking out
Mm-hmm.
um of that shell, but here it's like you're kind of embracing the everlasting basically.
Oh yes.
Mhm.
I think I think I think that a lot of the times people don't value what women do. For example, like let's say you're a woman and you gave birth, you took care of your mom cuz she was sick. You were a caregiver at home. You had no job. And then later on 10 years later, you started to take on a job. They probably wouldn't hire you because they don't see any value in what you did because they don't value what women do. Does that make sense? But I would argue against that. I would argue that there is value and there is strength in being able to take care of someone and raising a child and cooking them meals and cleaning the house. I think that there is great strength in that. And it's our job as women to empower each other to be whoever they want to be and find strength within that.
Mhm. So that goes back to the plastic kind of metaphor you were talking about, or how were you thinking about that, incorporating that into like your performances?
Well, um I feel like that idea is incorporated really in all of my performances. This is just a new way of kind of expressing that.
So like,
Like for example, in my other performance, where where I was where it was based off of like an abusive relationship. I remember right before that, I ran into the bathroom and I looked like visually like distraught, and I found like the drunkest girls I could find, and I was like, I have to tell you something. And they were like, oh my God, what is it? And then and then I was like, I'm in an abusive relationship. And then they were like, oh, sweetie, are you okay? And I was like, oh, baby, I'm not the victim. I'm not the victim. Not to really joke about abusive relationships, but again, I like to take that narrative and switch it around and put women in that seat,
in more powerful positions.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any like upcoming shows that we can expect, or any other upcoming performances?
Right now, currently, no. I'm very popular during Halloween, though. Feel free to book me. You can visit my Instagram. My Instagram is kind of inappropriate. It's nipple kink, NIPPLEKIN And then on there, you can visit my website. You can watch my documentary that focuses more on my drag, and you can watch some of my work, as well as look of like a complete archive of like all the looks that I've made. If you'd like to reach out to me for bookings, please do ASAP so I can plan accordingly. You can reach out to me on Instagram or via email.